Mahama calls on African leaders to support Caribbean nations affected by recent hurricane as Ghana sends relief items worth 10 million cedis.
This is another gesture. 3 countries are going to benefit: Jamaica, which is the hardest hit, and then Cuba, but also our colleagues in Sudan. These humanitarian items are worth about 10 million Ghana cedis.
And former national chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, cautions the party against sanctioning defiant members ahead of the presidential primaries.
But a number of the leadership of the party at the top, some of them may go for election. And when you are going for election, it's a bit tricky to say that you want to go with a licking stick and enforce some kind of discipline. It may rather be negative.
The bulletin is live on affiliates across the country. In the Western region, this is Premier 100.5 FM, Bono region J Live 95.5 FM, Sunyane. In the Shanti region, we are live on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. This is Global 105.1 FM Ho in the Volta region, and Adanu 107.7 FM at Dakluwaya. In the Northern region, this is Diamond 93.7 FM in Tamale. In the Upper West region, we are live on Westlink 88.1 FM Laura. This is Source 100.1 FM Boko in the Upper East region, Pure 100.5 FM in Narongo. Northeast region, this is Cap 101.3 FM Nyankpanduri. Around the globe, we are live on citinewsroom.com.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Thank you for choosing us. Let's settle for the details of our stories now. And the former national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Freddie Blay, has cautioned that sanctioning party members considered deviant may not be the best approach as the party prepares for its presidential primaries. His comments come amid growing calls for the party to crack the whip on individuals whose statements and actions are deemed to threaten the unity of the party. Speaking to Citi News, Freddie Blay urged party leadership to prioritize dialogue and engagement with such members instead of resorting to punitive measures, warning that sanctions could further deepen divisions within the party.
It's a little difficult now to enforce any rule, particularly in terms of discipline and co. It rather lead to some kind of breakdown. It's advisory. Let's advise them to do it this way, that way. Indeed, the party people they are discerning and they know when you are going off target, they themselves will reject you. They themselves will not be happy with what you're doing. They're looking at the conduct. It's MPP, mind you. When you are campaigning and you say the wrong things and what they look at you, your style and everything else, it goes to reinforce their own conviction, whether you deserve to be the leader or not. I will not go ahead and make it look like it, because many of even the leadership, quite a number of the leadership of the party at the top, some of them may go for election.
We apologize for the poor quality of that sound. We'll rework it and bring it to you in our subsequent bulletins. Now, Mr. Freddie Blay also described as signs of desperation recent attempts by some opponents to brand Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a stranger in the party. Okay. We'll bring you some other stories, and President John Dramani Mahama has called on fellow African countries to mobilize support for countries affected by the recent hurricane. The appeal follows Ghana's donation of assorted relief items worth 10 million Ghana cedis to Jamaica and Cuba, devastated by the disaster, as well as a portion of the support allocated to war-torn Sudan. The relief package includes bags of rice, mattresses, gari mix, cocoa products, storage tanks, and other essential supplies. President Mahama noted that the gesture reflects Ghana's commitment to international solidarity and humanitarian assistance for disaster-affected nations.
This is another gesture. 3 countries are going to benefit: Jamaica, which is the hardest hit, and then Cuba, but also our colleagues in Sudan. Sudan is virtually becoming the forgotten war. Because of Ukraine and Gaza, it looks like the world's attention has shifted there. And so some of the atrocities, the genocide, and the humanitarian suffering that is taking place in Sudan is not something that belongs to the 21st century. And so we all witnessed recently Al-Fashir, when the RSF went in there. A lot of people were killed, a lot of people were displaced, and those people are in camps that are being run by the Red Cross. And so even though Ghana's contribution would not resolve the humanitarian suffering that is going on, we believe that if every country contributes its quota, we can help to alleviate, what is happening in these places. These humanitarian items are worth about 10 million Ghana cedis.
President of the Republic John Dramani Mahama there. The Mental Health Authority has raised concern over the shortage of caregivers for persons with mental health conditions. According to the authority, Ghana requires thousands of trained caregivers to effectively respond to the growing mental health needs across the country. Speaking on the sidelines of a mental health workshop in Accra, Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Dr. Eugene Dodoye, stressed the need for greater attention to be given to mental health.
Majority of our Ghanaians who get mental illness, up to 90% of them do not get appropriate care. This is because of a myriad of issues. One of them is the fact that we don't even have enough mental health workers. The recommended psychiatrist ratio is about 1 psychiatrist to 10,000 population. There's a gap between the number of practitioners, the number of people who can care for the majority of our citizens who get mental illness.
Dr. Eugene Dodoye is Chief Executive Officer of the Mental Health Authority. To a sad one, 28-year-old man identified as Iyao Asamoah has lost his life at Abranse near Atobease in the Amansie West District of the Ashanti region. The incident occurred on Monday, November 3. Reports indicate that the deceased attempted to retrieve money he had paid to a commercial sex worker, leading to a heated argument that ultimately resulted in his death. His body was later found in an abandoned mining pit in the area. Confirming the incident to Citi News, Assembly member for the Atobease electoral area, Samuel Yeboah, said 2 suspects have been arrested to assist with investigations.
So we called a sex worker. He's called Anita, a Nigerian. So she explained that it is true that the guy came there and he had a shot with her. So afterwards, he wanted to take back the money he gave to her. So it became a huge misunderstanding. So when you look at the lady, it is true that they had fights. They fought. Because he has a bruise and marks around her leg and her hand as well. So that was then. So we just called the police to take the 2 guys, the caretaker and the lady, the sex worker. So investigation is still underway.
Samuel Yeboah is Assembly member for the Atobease electoral area in the Ashanti region. Despite operating for nearly a century, Pambro Salt Industries Limited has lost access to parts of its operational area after sections of its salt ponds were fenced off. Now, for more than a week, state security officers, including police and national security personnel, have overseen the destruction of salt ponds near the company's refinery and the construction of a fence wall, reportedly without authorization from the South Municipal Assembly. Managing Director for Pambro Salt Industries Limited, Michael Odate Wellington, tells Citi News that the company has suffered significant losses following the closure of the salt ponds.
Last night, we experienced some gunshots here. We don't know where that came from. Certainly, it wasn't coming from us. The situation is volatile. I don't think the central government should stand aloof and see all this happen. They have to intervene. Pambros should be seen as a national asset. Every effort must be made to bring some order to this place. Several years of work has just been destroyed. Within a couple of days, it's all been destroyed. It will be very difficult to quantify the impact of what has been done. But you were asking me about the mood and about the mood of workers and so on. I can tell you.
William Odate Wellington is the managing director of Pambros Salt Industries Limited. Apologies for the poor quality of that sound. Let's jump onto the phone lines and speak to our Central Regional Correspondent Akwesi Ado for more. Akwesi, tell us exactly where Pambros is and the nature of the takeover we are seeing.
So, Caleb, Pambros is situated at Wager Junction. That is directly opposite of the McCarthy Hills, and then situated within the Ramsar zone. So it lies within McCarthy Hills and then Iriaboman, which is also closer to the seashore. Currently speaking with you, they have lost about 100-acre piece of land, which contains several salt pans, which have now been fenced off and then also covered with laterite. You recall last week we reported on Citi News that a Chinese investor, Robert Tang Wei, was accompanied by some security officers from the SWAT unit of the Ghana Police Service and then some from National Security who were providing cover for him to construct a fence wall. Because it is situated within the Ramsar site, which should not be developed, we contacted the assembly and we were told the assembly had issued no authorization to any entity to erect any sort of estate in that area. But contrary to that, the Chinese investor has successfully fenced the 100-acre piece of land, and then Pambros, as it is now, do not have access to several of its salt pans.
Now, we know the Pambros enclave is part of the Densu wetland. Do you have any information as to the purpose for the takeover of the 100 acres of land? What would that be used for in the absence of its original purpose as a salt pan and a wetland?
So last week, I engaged the Chinese national, Robert Tang Wei, and he is also the owner of Empire Cement, situated within the same enclave. And we all know that that particular cement factory was built under similar, controversies. So he told me that he wants to establish a roofing sheet factory and then a water storage tank factory attached to the cement factory. So that is what he intends to utilize that piece of land for. And it is not clear whether he has permits from respective organizations like the EPA and other organizations. Like I mentioned earlier on, even with the construction of the fence wall, the MCE for the Wejagbawe Municipal Assembly, Felix Odate, told us last week that they haven't issued any permits. So it really comes as a surprise to realize that the entire area has been, the fence has been completed within just a few days, even though this area is so close to the assembly.
So what is the assembly saying they are going to do about this?
So the assembly hasn't said specifically what it intends to do, except that Citi News has cited a letter that was sent to the management of Pambros, and this was to invite the management of Pambros into a meeting, and that meeting had nothing to do with, protecting this wetland, which is of international importance, except that the assembly is now trying to establish who is the original owner of the fenced 100-acre piece of land.
So what is the mood among residents in the neighborhood?
Residents aren't happy because if we recall, about 3 years ago, there was a heavy flooding in the area following some amount of rainfall, and then the opening of the Wager Dam, the spillage of the Wager Dam. And the residents fear that they could soon be witnessing severe flooding in the area due to the continued development of the Ramsar site. Now, even apart from this Chinese investor, there is quite a number of developmental projects that are being carried out in the area by other individuals. Several portions of the wetlands have been filled through to the Dansoman enclave. And so it looks as if we are almost losing the entire Densu Delta Ramsar site. Philip.
Thank you very much. My very final question will be that of Kitech. We do know that the President of the Republic visited the area, and that's pretty close to Pambros, and instructed the company to, as it were, desilt some parts of the wetland that they had filled with laterites intending to build. Have you, by chance, seen whether or not they've complied after so many months?
They haven't complied with that, except to say that the area is now under siege, if I should say, because it even becomes difficult for personnel of the National Investigations Bureau, NIB, to even visit the place because they feel that their safety cannot be guaranteed. Caleb, I think with regards to this particular area, it will take some sort of a governmental force to reclaim that portion. Now, even closer to the Malam Interchange, there is a building that has now been sited closer to one of the flyovers. And then that entire area, which used to be a swamp, has now been filled with laterites.
Wow. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Akwesi Ado, our Central Regional Correspondent, for that elaborate report. You're listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studio here in Adabaka in Accra. Still ahead, the Ashanti Regional GJA solidarizes with journalists involved in yesterday's road crash while with the EPA. Meanwhile, Lands Ministry vows to continue its fight against illegal mining. Stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Luck is everywhere for everyone.
The winning season is back, but this time I am collecting the wins like jollof at a wedding. The luckiest season 3 is here. Your chance to flip your luck or maybe your bank account too.
2 easy ways to join. Dial *712#. Hit 1 to buy for you or 2 to gift a friend. Feeling lucky? Pick 1 for a random number or hit 2 to choose your own. Pay with mobile money. Done. You're in.
Or go to theluckiestafrica.com, click community tickets, choose your number or let the system do so for you. You can buy a ticket for your boo or your favorite barber. Pay with Momo or card if you're abroad.
1 ticket could turn your 1 Ghana cedi into 500 times more. And the whole community could win 10 times over.
Dial *712# or log on.
Let's get lucky together because luck is everywhere.
Play responsibly, not for persons under 18 years. This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Thank you for staying with us to some of the stories. And the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has attributed the crash involving officials of the Environmental Protection Agency EPA in the Ashanti region to attacks by illegal miners. According to the ministry, a violent confrontation between illegal miners and a joint EPA team with journalists near Obuasi led to a road crash that injured several persons, including a Channel 1 television journalist. Speaking to the media to review the week's operations in the fight against Galamsey, the Director of Communications at the Ministry, Ama Mausi Mawenyafia, reaffirmed the Ministry's commitment to combating the menace.
They were conducting operations around the country, going around to ascertain who was operating these machines or manufacturing the floating devices without permits, and to close down shops. And it was in one of these operations around Dadri that the illegal miners spotted them and decided to attack them, pelting stones at them and things like that. And so they had to flee for their lives. And in doing that, had to take another route out of the place, out of Boise. And it was in the course of that they got involved in the accident. 2 journalists were in critical condition. They are stable. Per the reports I received this morning, they are quite stable. One had to be operated on, had a surgery yesterday. Several others, sustained injuries. again, this incident is unfortunate. And Honorable Amakufibua, again, who also doubles as acting minister for Environment, Science and Technology, wishes to convey his utmost disappointment at the same events for these incidences. And he wishes to make it clear that he remains resolute and unperturbed in his resolve to deal with the matter on hand.
Ama Mausi Mawenyefia is the Director of Communications at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Branch of the Ghana Journalists Association has expressed concern and solidarity with journalists injured in an accident while covering an illegal mining assignment. In a statement, Regional Chairman Kofi Edu-Domfe said the GGA stands with the affected journalists and is urging authorities to ensure they receive full medical and emotional support. We'll stay in the region and speak to our Middle Belt Bureau Chief, Hafiz Tijani, who joins us on the line for more. Hafiz, what was the extent of the crash and how many journalists were impacted?
So 4 journalists, 1 camera technician. So 3 from multimedia, 1 camera technician from multimedia group, 2 journalists from multimedia group, 1 journalist from CFM and Channel 1 TV, 1 other journalist from Media General, then 2 other officials of the EPA who were in the same vehicle with these journalists. And one of the multimedia guys, the camera technician, his condition was severe, so he was referred from the community hospital at Aseri to the Konfanosi Teaching Hospital. And we are told that there will be a surgery on him. Yesterday, he went to a CT scan, and doctors at the Konfanosi Teaching Hospital are still taking care of him. But here at the community hospital, the journalist from Media General, Ibrahim Abubakar, has been discharged. The 2 other journalists from multimedia, one had a head injury, the other one is complaining of back pains and also pains in the chest. Doris Lonta is also complaining of back pains and pains at the shoulder part of the body. And she's also gone through the x-ray, and she's waiting for the surgeon who will come and interpret the results for her. Then they can go ahead and give them the monitoring they need. And Caleb, let me just add that so the EPA, they have been here throughout the night. The CEO was here. She took care of them, and she left. The deputy is now here with the regional director, and they have been visiting the victims who are still cooperating. And a while ago, we had a call from the chief of staff at the presidency himself. He called individually the journalists who have been affected to check on them, and he also conveyed a message from the president to them, and then he encouraged them that they were with them in prayer and they would ensure that they get well soon.
Now, Hafiz, what was the nature of the attack from the illegal miners that led to this crash?
So they were going to be Pottington. You know, the EPA began this exercise on Wednesday, where it shut down about 19 warehouses along the Anyan Frontier stretch who were trading and manufacturing these confined machines. And we know about the ban from the EPA, and they enforced the ban on Wednesday. So yesterday they were continuing to other parts of the areas where they had intel that these activities were going on. So on their way to the Pottington, they stopped at Dadwin and realized that there was illegal mining activity going on. So they went there, the people bolted, then they benched one excavator and other equipment used in the activity. So they went to another community or another part of Dadwin where another illegal mining was going on. So they tried engaging with the other people who were also engaging in the activity. So the people who had their excavators bent masked up and threatening the officials. And they masked up in their numbers and threatening the officials and saying that they shouldn't have bent their excavators. So the EPA, upon sensing danger, had to leave the place. So they started pelting stones, though no one as part of the team was hurt.
Right.
So they had to use another route to avoid the kind of ambush that would have been laid by these people. So they used Ayamfoe then to Kawe. So they reached Aferi, between Aferi and Kawe, where the accident happened.
Right. Hafiz, thank you. Hafiz Tijani is our Middle Belt Bureau Chief, giving us updates on the crash that involved some journalists while attached to the EPA in an anti-galamsey effort. Now, rice farmers in parts of the Volta region are appealing to the government to regulate the importation of foreign rice as a glut in the local market has left their produce unsold despite a bumper harvest. The farmers, mainly from the Central Tong, South Tong and Akachi South districts, say they are struggling to find buyers for their produce, raising fears that large quantities of rice may go waste and push many into debt. A rice farmer, Philip Aziedu, noted that many farmers have invested heavily in fertilizer and labor with the hope of making profit this season, but are now facing significant losses.
Okay, so one of our challenges is we are not getting buyers to buy or purchase our local rice. Though we have in large quantity, but buyers is the problem now. And also the inputs are expensive. And if we have to reduce the price to the lowest, it will affect we the farmers as well. I think we are pleading so that they should decrease the importation of the foreign rice so that we make use of our local production. Okay. Also, one of our challenges is we have only one factory that processes the rice after harvest, which is one of the factors, and we are pleading on the government to come help to establish. I think if we have 2 or 3 factories that can help produce or help to work on the grain for us, we will be happy, because we have to transport our input from here to Asuchare or Akuse before they can mill and dry mill and process bagging. It's a lot of expenses that we are dealing with.
Philip Aziedu is a rice farmer and our Greek Extension Officer for Central Tong. Elvis Mensah has urged the government to place stricter controls on rice importation to protect local farmers and stabilize the market. He warned that continued dependence on imported rice could collapse local production.
Most of the farmers are not willing to farm this year because they are saying that when they do it again, they have not gotten the money from the last season production. So if they should cultivate again, where would they really get the money to do the cultivation? Now the bank is also chasing them for their loans. If they are able to gather something to produce again and they harvest somewhere in December, January, and they don't get market, then they are continually losing. So that is discouraging more farmers into production. So currently, that is the challenge we are facing. So if you look around, you can see this farmer is still harvesting. But as at now, he's not sure of where market will come for. And there is no dryer to the entire district. We don't have any drying place where the farmers can go and dry the rice and store it. It's only Spring Agro, the rice mill in the district, that they have dryer attached to their rice mill.
Elvis Mensah is an Agric Extension Officer for Central Tong, and that's how we end the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabaka here in Accra. My name is Caleb Kuda. There is more news when you log on to citynewsroom.com. Good afternoon.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.